All right, good morning and welcome to the How Can I Support My Child series. Welcome to another beautiful day. Welcome to another beautiful opportunity to learn and to become everything that our children deserve, that we are as parents to them. My name is Maribeth Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources. And this is the How Can I Help My Child series, the series where we answer questions that parents ask about how they can be the kind of parents that their children deserve. All right, so today we are going to be looking at yet another topic. We've been on the series, how can I, we've been on the series, how can I leverage on my support system, something like that. How can I create support system, or how can I build the right support system in my parenting? This is because we understand that you cannot parent alone. It still takes a village to parent a child. The support system that you build for yourself is how you will overcome overwhelm, all right? How you will prevent overwhelm on your parenting journey. So if you do not want to get overwhelmed as a parent, then you need to ensure that you are building the right support system that you can leverage on, even as you parent your children. We've talked about different support systems that we can build in our parenting. We talked about your family, your friends and your loved ones, your immediate family, your extended family. We talked about how these people can form a solid support system for you in your parenting. We also talked about your friends and your loved ones. They can also be a solid support system that you can rely on in your parenting. We talked about your mentors and coaches. We talked about mentors for your children, that this can actually be people you can partner with, right, to support your child. Are we live? Yes, we are. All right, so we also talked about their coaches and their trainers. We know that this group of people also play a very important role in our children's life. Now, yesterday we talked about communities, our children, their peers, right? Their peers and the communities that we have. It could be your church community, it could be, the school community, your neighbors, your neighborhood, that community, the people in your neighborhood can actually form a support system for you in your parenting. Now, today is Friday, and we're going to be looking at the last group of people that we would be discussing in this series, and that is a solid accountability group for you as a parent. All right, so you would want to ask me, I'm the one that is looking for support for my children. Why do I need an accountability group? Now, the thing about parenting, as we have said, is it still takes a village to parent a child. Now, as we grow, or over the years, we've come to realize that this whole idea of winging parenting, this whole idea of doing what works for you, is one of the biggest sabotage, right? It's one of the mistakes that we have made for the longest time, and we're still making it, right? And it is showing in our community, it is showing in the society. The effect of everyone doing parenting as they will is showing in the kind of people we're raising, is showing in the kind of people who are out there in our society. So if you really want to know how effective the family is, or how effective the family has been in the last decade or two, then what we should be looking at is our society. What are the values that we have been able to instill in the homes, right? These values, of course, will show in the quality of human beings that we have in our society. So if we see in our society the kind of decay that we see today, if we see in our society people who are not empathetic, people who do not care about each other, people who are not patriotic, people who are dark. We just have a lot of darkness going on. People who are corrupt, people who are self-centered. So the level of decay you see in the society is a direct reflection of the kind of values that, we have been taught, or the kind of values that have been maintained in our homes. So the fact that we have one, two, three people here, there, pockets here and there, who seem to be doing the right thing, and the majority, belong to that mediocre group where, anything goes, corruption is acceptable, dysfunctionality is acceptable, all kinds of um, dysfunctionalities, right? All kinds of dysfunctionalities have become the norm, and all of that. It just reflects, what it is that we are learning in our homes, what it is that our children are learning in our homes. Now, there is that whole talk about Gen Z, Gen Z, Gen Z, every time the older generation, millennials and Generation X, older people are constantly, berating the Gen Z and having all this conversation about the children of these days are these, they are that. But then again, what we fail to understand is the children of these days are raised by the parents of these days. Yes, yes. So the children of these days are a direct reflection of the kind of parents who are raising children today. So if we have the society that we have today, or the kind of children that we're churning out today, what it should be to us should be feedback. It should be feedback to us that we are not doing a good job at parenting. So it simply means that whatever parenting style or whatever it is that is widely accepted, right, that we have come to agree on over the years, in the last 2 decades, it simply means, or more, it simply means that it's not working. But because parenting is one of those things that many of us do not stop to reflect about, you see, comes from that template, or from that place of do whatever works for you. There is no standard to parenting. There is no manual to parenting. There is no just do what works for you. You cannot teach me how to parent my child. Who says you cannot be taught how to parent your child? If you can be taught how to have a good marriage, if you can be taught how to do business, if you can be taught how to grow money, if you can be taught how to do customer service, if you can be taught how to manage your clients, if you can be taught how to be healthy, you are taught practically everything. In fact, you are even taught how to believe, right? Your whole religion and all of that, the way you should live your life, all of that, you are taught by the scripture. So how come? How come it is only parenting? Because all of a sudden we feel like we own these lives, right? Someone is teaching you how to live your own life, isn't it? All right. There is a standard. All right. If you are a religious person, then you have a standard for what it is that is the ideal thing to do. Whether you're doing it or not doing it is just for another day, right? So as far as it goes, if you're a religious person, then there are standards. You have been called to live your life in a certain way. You've been called to live your life in the Christ-like way. You have been called to live your life as as it obtains in your religion and all of that. And we are all making efforts to live that life, right? We're constantly reflecting, we're constantly confessing, we're constantly going back, to change our ways and become better people. So basically, you have a template for how you should live your life. Apart from your religion and your faith, right? The law practically chooses or practically directs you on how you can live your life. So you can't get into that car and drive it as you like and pass every junction and every T junctions and take every turn as you like. The law has put in place what is safe for all of us, because the world does not belong to you alone, isn't it? So there's traffic light, there are traffic rules, there are all of these things that have been put in place to ensure that there are all of these things that have been put in place to ensure that you are living a standard, you're living what is required, what is right, so that it is ecological. You can't just live as you like without considering how it affects the next person, and the next person, and the general community or the society and all of that. So there are standards, there are boundaries, right? The law ensures that there is, your religion ensures that there is. So all of this Now, why is it that when it now comes to how you raise children, then we now say there should be no boundary, there should be no law, there should be no rule, there should be nothing. Just do as it works for you. If nothing else, we have should have come to know by now that anything that has been put on that table, anything that has been put in that space where you are said or you are allowed to do as you like, hardly turns out well. Go back and think about it. For everything in our lives that has been put in that whole space of do whatever works for you, we realize these are the things that we have the biggest problems. These are the things that are the biggest issues today. Those things that people try to make seem as if there are no standards, there are no rules, there are no boundaries. Just do you. How I hate that phrase. There's nothing like doing you. There are principles to everything. All right. So now, what does an accountability group do for you? An accountability group for you as a parent will just sets, certain standards because there are principles, right? Because there are principles, there is higher knowledge, there are standards. So an accountability group just ensures that you are working within those standards, or at least it's there to remind you constantly, right, to do the right thing, or remind you, oh, okay, there are standards, there are principles, basically. So when as parents we decide that we don't want accountability in parenting, that's why we can come up with, I am too busy for this, I am too busy for that. No one is holding you accountable, not at home, not in your accountability group, not your family. Nobody can hold you accountability. So it's like free flow. Do as you like. The day I'm available for the children, I'm available for them. The day I'm not available for them, so be it. The day I don't feel like it, I'm in it. The day I don't feel like it, I'm not in it. The day I feel like talking to them, I talk to them. The day I don't feel like talking to them. So because there are no standards, you do not work with any principle. So you become the Lord and Master, basically, and you raise your children from that Lord and Master thing. So usually this kind of parents who doesn't have accountability is driven by their emotions. The day I am happy, then you will see me happy. The day I am not happy, then take it like that. Now, what we find often is that because our homes are those places that when we come, our home is usually that place that after a hard day, after I had, situation, it is when you come home that you lie down and the reality of the day or the reality of the situation or an event actually dawns on you, or that's when the reality settles. So many times it is the people in our home that actually get the worst part of us, because during the day you are busy. You're probably busy with your job, you're probably busy with whatever it is that you do. Okay. And so you are in that space where you are easygoing, right? You are in that space. I mean, if you work, if you do a regular, whatever, even if you run a business or if you are in your workplace, what you find out is that you are pleasant, or at least you do not put whatever you're going through in front of you. You try to be good to the customers, you try to be nice to the people you encounter. So you manage the way you feel, right, with the people who are outside. You're constantly managing the way that you feel with those who are outside. You put up a face, you put up a persona. It's okay. You make the effort, right, to put the things that you're going through behind you, and of course treat the people out there pleasantly, or treat them like human beings should be treated. Now, because when we come home, we are in our place of rest and we can actually sit and allow everything pour, and so our emotions and everything, take over. When we get home, we realize that the people at home, right, get the worst part of us. And when we don't have any form of accountability, we don't have any form of, whether it's personal accountability, whether it's a, group accountability or a mentor's accountability, whether it's an accountability by your family. Once there isn't accountability, you realize that, remember now, they say do what works for you. So you realize that you will do however you feel, because you're not compelled at this point, and you do not have to make an effort to be pleasant or to, honor the people at home. So most times when there is no accountability, or we are not intentional about this accountability, we realize that we continuously give the worst of ourselves to the people in our lives, the people at home. And who are these people? Our spouse and our children. Now, the sad part about this is these are temporal things for you. This is you going through a season, or this is you, right, dealing with something per time. And there's always one thing or the other, this life as it is, right? There's always one thing or the other that you are dealing with. Now, the moment you keep doing this without accountability, before you understand what's going on, this will become, on the average, right? This will become the default mode, you have in your home. It starts, little by little. Okay, it starts from, okay, that bad job, or that job where you're not very happy, or that situation, or that period in your life where you're going through something, and your child is probably just 2 weeks, or just a little child. And then you come, and this is the look, this is the energy you have when you come to your home, and you do that, and nobody's holding you accountable. You continue like that. Before you know it, it becomes default, it becomes normal. You find out that when you are home, you are hardly putting yourself in that space where you are excited, you are happy, and all of that. And so you will come in, you will walk into your room, you will come in, you will do your business, you will come in, you will go to sleep, and you realize you are taken away, or you are not paying attention to the need to spend time with your children or with your family. Okay, basically, whether you are a father or you are a mother, this can be happening to anyone. And your children get used to this, right? You being that person who comes in and all they need to say is, welcome, mommy, welcome, daddy, how are you? Everybody's okay. And then you go to your room, and then you do the things that you do for you to, you do the whatever it is that you use to calm yourself down and tell yourself, now I am home. For some people, it is go to sleep. For others, it is be on your phone talking to other people. For others, it is just go and watch a movie. It could be anything, but without knowing it, these things are putting the people who are important out of your life. So yes, the short time that you even have to be at home after your job, after your business, the short time that you have to be at home, you realize that you are not even present. So your physical body is in that space, but you are not still present in the life of your children or in the life of your spouse. And this is it. And what is responsible for this is the fact that you are not accountable in your parenting. Is the fact that you're not being intentional about this accountability or accountability in this area. All right. So gradually this becomes the standard, this becomes the way of life in your home, and then your children, of course, will model after you. Your children see you, your children see how it is, how important spending time with them is to you. Your children see how important family is to you. It doesn't matter how many things you say with your mouth. It doesn't matter how you reel out the sacrifices that you make for them. For you as a parent, your sacrifice is in the money and in whatever it is, the resources that you invest into being a parent. All right. But in reality, for your child, your sacrifice is in the time that you spend with them, and it's in the time that you have, right, to prioritize them. So if you are not spending time to play, spending time to talk, spending time to do things with your children, if you are not present in the little things that makes up their reality as children, then they do not see you. You are not present, and they do not understand this as love. All right. It doesn't matter if they get excited every time you come home with pizza. It doesn't matter if they get excited once in a while that you say, let me take you out. It doesn't matter. What that actually does, it actually puts you in a place where your children practically see you as, the way you see your ATM machine, the way you see your salary at the end of the month. That's how your children begin to see you. You become the ATM in their lives. So you are synonymous to a little pizza here, a little enjoyment here. So your children will not connect with you at a deeper level. Your relationship is you are present, and your presence signifies material things, basically. All right, thank you, Ngozika, for joining, for commenting right there. It's good to have you. All right, if you're in here right now, please let us know you are. Put something in the comments. If you are on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and click the subscription button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to also click notification so that when we go live, you will see that we are live. On Facebook, do you have a friend who needs to be here? Have a friend who needs to learn from what we are teaching. Tag them so that they can be a part of the show. We do this show every morning from 8:30 to 9 a.m. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're talking about how we can, the people or the systems that we can leverage as a support system in our parenting. All right, we've talked about our friends and family. We've talked about our children's mentors, as collaborators and partners with us to support our children. All right, and we can leverage that support basically as part of our own support system. We've talked about their peers and their communities, how we can use that. What they do with the children, what they do for the children becomes a support that we can leverage on. We've talked about their coaches and their trainers. And today we are talking about you as a parent having an accountability system. That accountability, there are different levels or different kinds of accountability. One is self-accountability. Two is your family becoming your accountability system. You being able to, creating a system in your home where your family can hold you accountable. Three, your accountability can be an accountability partner or a mentor that you have as a parent yourself. And then four is you belonging to a mentorship group or an accountability group, in your parenting. When you have this, it helps you stay focused on the vision that you have for your family. It keeps you focused on your family as a priority. It keeps you focused on the things that will make for you being the kind of parents that your children deserve. And when you do it, it helps you to ward against all the excuses that you make. Excuses like, I don't have time. If you still use that phrase and you are a parent, then you need to go back to the drawing board and look for another phrase to replace this. Because I promise you, you don't want to look your child in the face and say to the child, I don't have time for you. But the truth is, every time you say, I don't have time, that's what you're practically saying. You're practically saying to your child, I don't have time for you. They say, oh, you need to be present at their game. I don't have time. You need to come to their school. I don't have time. You need to play with them. I don't have time. You need to do a game with them. I don't have time. You need to take them out. I don't have time. What are you saying invariably? I do not have time for you. I am too busy with other things that are important right now. And you are the least of my priority. Whether you're saying this directly with your mouth or you are not, this is the vibe that your child will get. And your money, your gift, your school fees, your whatever it is that you think that you are working for, right? To provide for your child does not cover this. It does not replace your presence in their life. It does not sit. It does not in any way. It doesn't in any way replace who you are in their lives, their mother, their father. Okay, and I have said this for the longest time, and I will say it again. The language of love for your child is play. The language of love for your child is your presence. If you are not present in their life and you do not make time to play with them, then there is no love in that equation. I mean, why do we go far about these things? Look at it even for you as an adult. You have that friend that all the friend does is when you have a challenge, the friend sends you money. You have that friend where you'll be like, oh, my mom is not feeling well. Oh, really? Oh, sorry about that. The friend sends you probably $100K and friend faces their front, doesn't check on you, doesn't find out, doesn't spend time. Oh, I lost this. The person sends you a bit of money here and the person is too busy. I am busy. Take a little money here and add to whatever you're doing. Oh, I'm getting married. Oh, really? Take a little money here and I am busy. Now, because of how dysfunctional we have become as a people, that's what I started by saying. Our values are eroded, and this is why we see the mess that we see. Because of where we are already gravitating to, because of the kind of values that we uphold as it is these days, it is becoming okay that people do not show concern about you, people do not show up for you, people do not stay with you in your times of need, people do not ask you how you are doing, people do not respond to your cry for help or your cry or your discomfort. They just want to throw a little money here and there. And because we are raising children who are all about money, we're raising people who are all about money. So what do you hear when there is a little complaint about people not being in each other's life? What do you hear? I mean, provided there is money. So that's why we open our mouth and we share narratives with our children that are so disempowering. You will hear young girls say, "Oh, I would rather cry in Dubai than laugh, I mean, than whatever in a poorhouse," or something like that. So we sell these narratives, and these narratives are the reason why young people will do anything, if it means putting their whole body out there on the screen, let it be, provided it ends in money. It is the reason people would destroy relationships. It is the reason people will destroy other people. It is the reason people will practically dehumane another human being, just dehumanize, another human being, just because money is involved. So these are the issues that we're dealing with. But basically, I feel, or I think, right, that we would actually feel better, or we would actually feel more connected to that friend who doesn't just support you in whatever way they can support you, but make the time to know how you are doing, be present for you, take and sacrifice some of their time to be by your side when the need is, or to be by your side consistently, that show up, that you get to see every now and then, even in spite of their busyness. When people can make time for you in the midst of their busyness, then you know that you are important to this person. And it is the same language that your child understands. So all those big school fees, all those big designers clothes, whatever it is that you think is the sacrifice that you are making for your child, it doesn't cut it. No wonder you turn 60 and you are 70 and they don't really care about what it is. They make excuses for why they should show up in your life. All they do is they pay your DSTV bills, they pay your hospital bills, they pay all the bills, they make sure there's food in your home, and they face their front. So they are never lacking when it comes to the things that you need. In fact, you don't even know that your needs, you're not even a part of the process. That's what we see these days. We see parents who have children where the parents don't even have to be a part of the process. There's someone in charge to make sure that your car has fuel, your tank is full, there is food, there is this, there is that. But come and see your child with your eyes now. It's difficult. Your children will go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They've not seen you, right? Go all those years, they've not seen you. Why? Because, of course, you taught them that money is how you're present in people's life. So they make sure all those things are available for you, but you can't see your children. But then again, I say to parents over and over again, a time will come in your life. Are you not growing older? A time will come in your life that the things that will matter most in your life is the warmth of the people around you, the words of the people around you, and just simply knowing that I have this person by my side no matter what. All right, a time will come in your life that is what will matter to you. If you're not even in that season, I am in that season already. So if you're not in that season already, don't worry, the time will come where you will see all the money on and you can't do anything with it. I remember back then in the university, I used to have this Indian lecturer. Okay, and one of those days he likes to tell stories. So when he comes into the classroom, he will tell a story, before we get into, the business of the day. Was it taxonomy or something like that, teacher? I can't remember where he was even lecturing us. But then again, he came one day and he sat down and he told us about his family. He said one of his sons a medical doctor in the US, one is a this in the UK, is an Indian. So his children are all spread around the world. No one is even in India. This one is in the UK, this one is in the US, this one is in this country. And he had been a lecturer in the University of Jos for the longest time. All right. And so he said there was one holiday or one time that his wife, just he and his wife, one of those times, he and his wife were sitting down and she had a bowl of soup and, the bread, flat bread. She had a bowl of soup and bread, and he had a bowl of salad, and bread or something like that. And they were eating, and he turned and he looked at his wife and he said to her, So all this stress, all this hard work that we put in our lives is so that one day the only thing that we have is an empty home and a bowl of salad and flatbread. I think this was all of that was worth. So you want to prepare a home where that isn't all that you're gonna have. A bowl and a bowl of hot soup and flatbread. All right, because you would always be sure that your children are this close, that your children will always make time for you, and your children will be close enough. Scratch that thing that they say, oh, your children have to live their life and you have to be. Who says they can't live their life and we can still be a part of their lives? And who says you even need to live in their house to be a part of it? There are families that you can have just because of the honor and the connection that you have built over the years. You will never feel alone in your life. All right, that's what we should be building. But you can't build this if you are busy, 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 busy. They don't know what it means like to stay with you. No wonder some of us speak with our parents once in a long while, or even when we speak, all we talk about is how are you doing? How is your body? How are you fine? Can you remember Uncle? Bang, 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 bang. That's Uncle. Okay, he fell yesterday. Can you remember this auntie? She fell yesterday. That's it. You don't know nothing that is happening in the life of your children. If there's no uncle, auntie, or neighbor to talk about, gist is flat. You got nothing, nothing happening in that relationship. It's because that is the relationship that you built over the years. All right. So yes, who are your accountability? When you have personal accountability, then you have a vision, you have a plan, you know what kind of parent you want to be to your child. You have been able to think that through and create some templates, okay, of who you want to be, what kind of parent you want to be, and how you want to be present in your children's life. That is the reason you will get a job and you will say, no, this one will not allow me be the parent I want to be to my children. Scratch it, not for me. That is the reason you would say, okay, this job is such that I have to be far away, but what am I going to do? I'm going to create a system where I speak with my children every day. I remember in one of these conferences, TIP conference, how Phelps Idahosa, the bishop's son, was saying that he actually goes to school, whether he's in town or not in town, he practically goes to school with his children every morning. So whether he's in Nigeria and his children are in the US, when they get into that car, there will be a conversation between he and his family all the way. He will bless them and they will do all of that. I remember him also saying it didn't matter how busy his father was back in the day, right? As a bishop, right? He would come home at 2 p.m. every day to have lunch with his children. That is when you have made up your mind on how you want to be present in the life of your child. And because of that, you are holding yourself accountable to a standard. That is why no matter what, if you have some traditions in your home, nobody needs to tell you. You will make sure that you show up for your children because you are accountable. That is one. Number two, how can you be accountable? Sorry, my daughter has not to no. Sorry about that lunch. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so that is why, so that's it. Personal accountability. What are the things that you have decided? This is a standard. That is the reason Serena Williams and Venus, their father could say, this place we're staying, it doesn't work anymore. We are packing and we are moving just because of the children. Parents who have gone ahead of us, who are visionary, have made sacrifices over and over again. Sacrifices that was not comfortable for them. Sacrifices that was about their children, because you understand the season that you are in your life. If you are a parent and the decisions that you make, you have children, and the decisions that you make is still driven by your interest, by your own interest and your feelings, then there is a problem with that parenting. You need to go back and look at what it is that are your priority. And if you understand the role that you play in the life of your children. Number two, family accountability. If you don't create a system in your home where you have values, where you have boundaries, where you have standards, right, that hold not just your children accountable, but allows your children to hold you accountable, then you are not ready for this business. Because you know something, this will not only sabotage your relationship and family dynamics, it will make a mess of your children and how they accept to be treated, or what it is, the standard that they live even outside your home. Okay, so in my new book, Destined for Greatness, I x-rayed on Mandela, right? I x-rayed on the Madiba of South Africa, and children are going to be learning lessons, from Mandela's life, basically, And the story there said that, Mandela was raised after his father died. He was raised by another chief who was a very powerful man, something like that. And it was with him that he learned leadership skills and learned how to stand up for himself. Now, because someone modeled how to stand up for himself, when Mandela found himself in a situation later in life where injustice was glaring, he didn't keep quiet. He didn't sit quiet. Even with how dangerous it was at the time, he stood up, because that is what he has imbibed. That is what he has been taught by someone. That father must have modeled this to him, in a way that he believed and he accepted. That's why he could replicate it. So that's it. Now, if you do not have standards, you do not have these standards that you model to your children, then you will continue to speak and tell them what they can do that you cannot do. If you are a parent, you have standards in your home. Live by those standards, such that when you are not living by it, your children can say to you, Dad, Mom, you just broke a code. You just did this, you just did that, and you shouldn't be too proud, or your ego should not be too big for you to say, oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm also on a journey, and yes, I am not beyond mistake. If you are in that place that you still do not know how to apologize to your children, you still do not know how to say to your children, I was actually wrong. Because you know something, a lot of people are in that space, men, women, where you know how to see all the wrong things that your children or the people around you do. But even when you are wrong, to say to them, oh, I was wrong, you are right, you can never. It's your ego that is pursuing you. That's ego. You know the story of, let's not go there. That's ego. It will make a mess of you, your relationship with these people, and really, it takes you nowhere. It really does take you nowhere. All right, so that's it. Family accountability. Create systems in your home that even you can be held accountable. Why shouldn't your family know where you are at every time? Why shouldn't your children know where you are at every point? Why shouldn't your father know where you are? Why shouldn't your spouse know where you are? It's because you don't understand accountability. And the truth is, it is said that if you see a person that does not understand accountability, run very far from them, because that person is a time bomb waiting to explode. There is no boundaries. Nobody can say stop. Nobody can say look at it again. That person is on a self-destruct mission, basically, because how can you depend on you, yourself, and you for everything, right? So that's it. Number 3, you want mentorship. Yes, you want to submit yourself to a system of mentorship, even in every area of your life, basically. You want to submit yourself to spiritual mentors. You want to submit yourself to business mentors. You want to submit yourself to life mentors. You want to submit yourself, right, to parenting mentors. Okay, just have, what does it take to have it? Or who is a mentor? Basically, someone who has gone ahead of you, someone who has achieved a lot in an area where you are making strides, right? So they say when you can behold it, you can become it. All right. So it is pride not to have mentors. It is pride not to have people that you look up to. It is pride, right? Because if it's not, then you would know that if someone has achieved so much, it means that the person has cracked a code that you haven't cracked. That's why you haven't achieved that. So what is wrong with learning at their feet? What is wrong with you submitting yourself to their tutelage? Now, when you do this, you model to your children that there is a need for this. And so you're able to put them in systems where they can also get this kind of accountability. And that's where the mastermind circle comes in. We run an accountability group, a solid one for children. all right, between ages 6 and 14. You want to be a part of that. Just send us a message, all right, so that you can know more about that accountability system that we have for children for an entire year. It's so robust, it's so effective. Okay, the last kind of accountability that you want is a group accountability. Put yourself in parenting groups. Allow yourself go into parenting groups, right, where you have your learning in the crowd, people with the same mindset, people with similar values, people with similar visions, people with similar experiences or experiences that you can leverage in your own parenting. Shared experiences are very key in parenting as well as it is in other areas. So that's why you have all those school groups, right? So that you want to continue to be a part of your children, your schoolmates, their lives. That's why you have those groups in your jobs, right? So that you can bounce ideas here and there. So why not get yourself into parenting groups so that you can share experiences and you can grow, right? Just because you can see someone's experience that is appealing, or someone's experience that can help you with tools that you need for your own journey. It's not about comparing yourself or anything like that. It is pride that makes you think that every time they say show up, it is because they are saying you're not good. If you are in a space where every time someone gives you feedback, the only thing that comes to your mind is that the person is saying they are better than you, then you have a personal problem. You may need to go and check that trauma is not the one that is driving that feeling. Every time I get feedback, I stop and I think about it. All right. I may not at that point, say, oh, I get it. All right. But I always go back and reflect on every feedback that I get, and I see where I can fit it in my journey forward. All right. So thank you for joining me today. We're going to put a ceiling on the show for this week with this. I hope you have learned. I hope you have gotten tools. I hope you have gotten a few strategies here and there from Monday to Friday. If you would like, we will share the link to all of the episodes of this How Can I Support My Child series. As I said, this series came about because we're trying to answer the questions that parents ask us every time. All right, I'm going on vacation from tomorrow, and I'm not sure if we're going to have this show throughout last week, but when I get to my vacation location and it feels like what we can wing, then we will have the show for next week. If it feels like an environment where we can do this, then we will have the show for next week. If not, then I'll see you on the later in the month, halfway in the month, when we're back from vacation. So in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Look out for my new book, okay? Look out for my new book. There's a wait list for you to get it at a very affordable rate in the next few days, okay? Very affordable rate. There is a flash sale that's going to be going on, so you want to key in, get into that wait list so that you can grab my book, okay? 2 books actually, and they will bless your children, especially if you have young children and preteens. Thank you very much for being a part of the show today. I do not take it for granted that you allow me to be a part of your journey. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye. Bye. Thank you, John. Thank you. Everyone who joined. Ngozika. Thank you, everyone who joined the show. And if you're catching the replay, let us know if you got value from this session. Bye.